Hello ATR, huge fan of yours from guess where? The Republic of Macedonia. You get in a second why I'm smiling. You were playing here on the 29th of November 2011 on Taksirat Festival. I'm sure you remember after the end of the show we wanted more, but something happened and they did not allow you to play more. So you started raging and kicking the speakers, which was really cool to be honest, he says. My question is, what really happened there? Why weren't you allowed to play a few songs more? What caused that rage? I've also heard you went outside with fans after the show, which sadly I've missed it, and that you were really nice and friendly. I was really looking forward to meeting you, especially Nick Endo, smiley face, but well, hopefully another time. Thank you for your time. Yeah, that show, I really remember that show. It was a crazy show. Okay, that show, I have to say, sometimes, you know, we get into places, I mean, and that's very rare actually. This happens maybe once every 5 years or something. Okay, so it's not. Some people might think, oh, this is always like that. You know, when you're on a tour or something, it's not. These are exceptions. When we got there was a really strange vibe against us. We were headlining that stage, but everyone working there hated electronic music, and there was this resistance the whole time. And negativity, which was totally unnecessary. You know, like, people pay to go to a show. They want to have a good time or something. And we traveled this whole way to play there. And, you know, so people are setting it up, it's a festival, and you wonder, like, people work there, like, you know, why not it's just a few hours, right, in the day. We could make this work. I think even, you know, I've been in situations, you know, where I waited, for example, I was DJing, there was like 3 DJs before me and I had to wait and backstage or whatever, but I heard music that I didn't 100% like. Well, you know, whatever, like I get over it. But there was that really weird vibe against, and there was a lot of sabotaging. I mean, when we did the sound check, only the left side of the sound system worked, and we spoke to the sound guys and stuff, and you know, and they said they couldn't hear, they didn't know what we were talking about, and it's like, this is stereo, you know, like if you have, then at least put all the speakers in the center, so it's mono, because everybody's just going to look to that side. It's just going to be sick, and there was a lot of stuff like that, which was just crazy. But then, you know, during the show, it was another thing, because people like just cut out the sound, you know, every now and again, and you know, all this stuff, and it was really making the show bad, I felt. I mean, it wasn't as bad, but it could have gotten a lot worse. So yeah, and then we felt like, you know, we were supposed to play an hour or something, and after 40 minutes, because the club manager or like some guy there who, the sponsor or something, didn't like the music, he would just wanted to be cut. And I think to cut a show in the middle of the song, you know, it was just insane, you know, and I felt this was really disrespectful to the fans, you know, like they come there, they want to see the full show, and also we want to play for them. There was a lot of arguing that, you know, people didn't hear about from the audience, because it was, you know, there was like a little break and we discussed it, and our tour manager was screaming at somebody and stuff, and it was just really weird. And yeah, and the best thing was we could play more, you know. The bouncers wanted to beat us up or something. It was just one of these shows where it was like, okay, this would probably end up in some book. Anyway, I would love to come back, and because I loved the audience, you know, I loved it, the way they were like, supporting us in this situation was just really great. I think it was just like, yes, like this is, I love this when you feel like so connected with the crowd, and it's like, no, like we're together, like we want to make this happen. It was a really good vibe, and that's why also when we hung out outside, there was the tour bus, and we were hanging out because we stopped earlier anyway, and we had great conversations with some fans, and it was actually a great night after all. But yeah, this is what happened. I mean, I could tell you all the more details, but it's like a half-hour story or something. But yeah, that's what it is. I guess the others get an idea. Sometimes when you're on tour, fucked up shit can happen, and later on you laugh about it. Okay, Kirsty Rollins is asking, hello ATR, question for you. First question, Alec and Nick, are you planning on creating any more music as Alec Empire again and touring? Good question. It's not being planned at Alec Empire as a band right now. We could do it. It's not being planned right now, but it's something that, would be good to do maybe at some point again. So, yeah, I'm sorry I can't really answer this properly because we're doing ATR now, but sometimes, we do this, and we maybe even do something with like drummers or stuff what we did like for Intelligent Sacrifice. This could be an option. If sometimes, when we feel stuck and we go, this is getting repetitive, this is getting a routine, and we don't really feel we can make new stuff happen, and we can't deliver like a special show anymore because it's becoming a sort of like a job, just have overdone it, then sometimes it's great to just do something else. And that's often why we do these other things, because we just want to keep moving. The second question, do you like IAMX? Yes, for those who don't know who that is, it's another artist. He was in Sneaker Pimps in the 90s, and yeah, great guy. I remixed him, it was good stuff. Like, yeah, I think it's very interesting music that he does also. It's great, like, to have people like that around in the music scene, I think. 3, what is your favorite thing to do to unwind? Yeah, no, that's the wrong question. It's always the opposite. It's like, it's to unwind, like that's, you just don't do anything or something. I don't have a ritual for that. I haven't seen the others in the band doing that. It's, yeah. Sometimes, for example, when I would read a book or so, if for example, we just played a show, it's very hard to focus on something like that, like for maybe 2 more hours or so, because you're still full with adrenaline, and you cannot really take new information in as deep. Not like that. You can maybe take other types of information. So there's never really the situation where we have to unwind. What is your favorite synth or drum machine of all time? Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's a lot of things that are great. I think you just have to decide what kind of music you want to do. And I wish I could give you another answer. For example, for Atari Teenage Riot, the TR-909 is a great drum machine. It does what it does, and we love it for that. If we want to do something else, to me, that's too much ATR sounding. So I want to use other stuff like the Pt.8 or stuff like that. But it really depends. It's also phases, like I wouldn't always just go back to the same machine. I think people have built amazing synths that spawn like different music genres. And that's amazing. And sometimes when you speak to people who build music instruments, it's funny how they don't foresee it. They don't go, probably these people would do that with that synth. No, because they haven't, the music doesn't exist yet. And it's very fascinating that people can come up with these complex, for example, synthesizers, and they have such a great sound, but that's a different process, and a very creative process too, but more a technical one, and then the musicians do something else with it. It's very interesting. So that's why I can't really answer that question.